Oh, I don't
Good.
get a notification that you're recording?
It
Yeah, it
should.
says it on the top left.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it does.
There
Very
we go.
unastute of you. But in any case, welcome everyone to what we think is season 3. Yes, 3. Episode 12, potentially.
Episode 12.
Cars Unfiltered podcast. We're trying something new. We're trying a video thing so you can see our lovely mugs. 3 people with unkempt beards.
Damn straight.
So if you've never gone to our now defunct website before, I am Sal, the bald one with the beard. Mike is the one with the glasses and the beard. Say hi,
Yep.
Mike.
Yeah, that's me.
So depending how Tom sets this up, I don't know if it'll switch between back and forth or it'll have all 3 of us. Because I have all 3 of us right now. But
Actually, I have no idea how this is going to work.
Oh,
So we're using.
Can you see all 3 of us right now, Tom?
Yeah, I set it to gallery mode, but I don't know how it's going to record.
Oh.
Well, I've got all 3 across the top, and then it switches between you two when you're talking.
See, if you switch it to gallery mode, all 3 of us will be live at the same time.
I don't want it to look like that.
Okay. Well, so you might experience it like Mike does, and it'll be maybe cause a seizure or some sort of stroke.
And we do apologize if that's the case.
Yeah.
No, speaker view's way better.
Okay. So now you see the 3 of us. So we're coming to you from our respective places on this cold and finally kind of snowy-ish Michigan evening.
I hear we're supposed to get upwards of 3 inches by the end of the weekend.
Yeah. That big 2-stage snow blower that I bought is really coming in handy.
Oh, yeah. I might have to borrow that. I'll just use my 4-wheel drive truck to, go over to your place so I can snow plow the half inch of snow.
Joke's on you, you're going to have to assemble it. It's still in a box and a pallet. But speaking of 4x4 trucks, we're going to lead off with Mike's grumpy old man take of the week. So, Mike, do you want to talk about what made you very frustrated this week in the news?
Well, it didn't make me frustrated. I'm just disappointed that we're not going to sell any more stick shift trucks after this year. The last one is the Ram 2500 with the Cummins 6-cylinder diesel, right, and a manual transmission. But you're not going to be able to order it after 2019, and it's disappointing. I kind of, I want to shed a tear for it.
Mike, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you were buying a brand new truck, would you buy a manual truck?
If Ford had one, I would.
I don't think so.
I would.
We've talked about this ad nauseum.
Yeah,
because there's traffic. That's why.
I mean,
but manual truck.
But even I go back and forth some days where it's like, if the Mustang, like that new GT 500 that came out, I'm not mad at the fact that it is a dual clutch. Like, yes, there are days where having my stick shift Mustang is fun, but having a dual clutch on that thing would be sweet. Like, if they offered a regular Mustang GT with a dual clutch gearbox, it'd be a hard sell for me to go back to manual.
So are you saying, Sal, that the normal 10-speed Mustang, Mike knows where I'm going with this, the normal Mustang automatics don't have a dual clutch transmission? Is that what you're telling me?
I didn't think so. They might. I'm new to this transmission world. I just recently moved over abruptly, but I believe it's a regular, what we in the biz called slush boxes.
So me and Mike had this debate the other day where I said, oh, that's cool. The GT500 has dual clutch transmission. Like, that's cool. And then he's like, they all do. Even the Fiestas have dual clutch transmissions now. And I am unfortunately too ignorant to debate that.
No, I didn't say all of them do. I said all of them have the possibility of having it.
No, they don't. Right now, only the Focus, which God help us, and
Focus.
the
Yep.
GT, the GT.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I think the GT 350.
Those are all manual.
No, they had the automatic versions, but I don't remember if it was a.
I don't think so.
I thought so, but in any case, no, they don't. Right. So your 10-speed and 8, 9, 10-speed. For those of you guys that don't know, was basically a joint commissioning out by the 3 main auto suppliers. Each one designed their own. I found out some interesting insider stuff that I won't say, but basically not everyone ended up using the other one's design. But
no, not at all. Yeah,
we were supposed to all copy. One was developing an 8-speed architecture, one a 9, and one a 10. But they're all conventional ones. So this, to my knowledge, would be the first If not the GT350, it'd be one of the first applications post the shaky focus with the dual clutch.
Maybe for Ford though, but what I'm saying is it's not out of industry standard to use a dual clutch transmission.
But it's out of.
Veloster had a dual clutch transmission, or has one of the two.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
The Veloster?
Look it up.
I don't know. But in any case, point being, to the point that we were getting back at, like, even that, I'm starting, like, I love my Mustang, don't get me wrong, it's fun. But when I daily drive it in the summer and I'm just caught on, like, 8 Mile, going first, second, neutral, first, second, neutral, first, second, neutral for, like, an hour to two every single day, it gets old.
Bam. I've got a video right here. Amazing Hyundai Veloster Turbo DCT automatic performance reviews.
Cool.
Okay. It had a dual clutch transmission.
Was it custom?
No, it was production.
Okay. So in any case,
it was like Veloster Sport or whatever. But all I'm saying is, like,
how many? Well, so here's
of a dual clutch transmission isn't like way out there.
Well, good ones are, because as the focus group. But so answer me this, Mister. I'm upset about this. How many trucks with manual transmissions have you had?
Technically, I've only ever owned one.
I've only had one also.
My dad's owned a few, and I always liked those. And I used to drive a few that were stick, but they weren't mine. But they were like my daily drivers.
I did like my F-150 like manual.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, is the downside of that
Mazda
truck.
5-speed in those like mid '90s F-150s was phenomenal. Great transmission.
Yeah, no, I did like it. Honestly, I don't.
The clutch went out at like 110,000, and then after that, you could drive for another 110 with a replacement. You know, like they were fine.
Mine had more than that on it.
Oh, I believe
clutch.
It.
Yeah.
My old man's was used to teach many college students how to drive stick.
But I don't know what it is about that transmission though. Like it was zippy. Like it felt good. Like switching gears and stuff. I don't think though that I would still want that. If I have to drive in traffic at all, like I'm getting an auto though. Like if I bought a new truck, like a Super Duty or something, I'm going to be driving it in traffic because there's going to be some point with a Super Duty where you're going to have like a trailer loaded with like a bunch of stuff on it, and you're going to go through Chicago or something and be like, I hate this manual transmission. Like you just know that's going to happen.
Yeah, getting caught on the tri-state through Indiana on the way to Chicago in my Mustang is torture.
I mean, it's not that bad.
Yeah, but this also coming from a guy that drives cars that don't have functioning heat in the winter or air conditioning in the summer or power anything.
Mike, raise the bar. Raise the bar, Mike.
Or a reliable gas meter. There was a solid like 3-week stretch where it was a crapshoot every day. If I'd get a text saying, "Hey, I'm stranded,"
he's not wrong.
You have all I'm saying is you have a higher tolerance for cars for cars with less technology than the average bear.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Yeah. That was pretty bad there for a while.
There was a decent streak over there.
Come to find out, it wasn't the fact that I was out of gas; it was other problems.
And also speaking of streaks and things that make Mike mad, so there was a streak that
let's not talk about his underwear.
Right.
Hey, I don't have streaks in my underwear. All right.
They're black underwear just to make
damn
sure.
straight. I only buy brown underwear.
So in any case, speaking of streaks that came to an end that made Mike mad, with an asterisk, apparently the record for the fastest speed by a land bike was broken either recently or we just found out about it. Yeah, non-motorized bicycle was broken by a lady, and Mike thinks she used performance-enhancing attributes.
She did, goddammit.
So Mike's
she had a fucking Overdrive.
Mike's theory hinges on the fact that Barry Bonds shot. No, I'm just kidding.
That was just to explain it to you in sports terms.
Right. She hinges because with my 2 engineering degrees, including one in automotive systems, I'm not bright enough to pick up the thought behind the transmission. In any case, Mike's discussion was that she ended up using basically a gear set with Overdrive, which is not what the other competitors previously used. So Mike thinks it's an unfair competitive advantage that should be taken as a separate class of
It should be.
vehicle.
It should be. Because for the same reason that you can't put an altered wheelbase, gas-powered, alcohol fuel or alcohol-powered, fuel-injected, blown, big block V8 in the same category as a stock four-cylinder vehicle on like with cars.
But we were talking about this. So the land speed record for a four-wheeled vehicle or whatever, not even a four-wheeled vehicle, for regular cars, right? Do they distinguish by transmission?
No, but it's different.
It's not different.
It is different.
This is well, to make you happier, Tom, for those of you guys, Tom, you have to speak when you say show things.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Tom put up a sign that said, "Is this a car show?" To tie it into a car show, she was dragged by a dragster, which in itself is bonkers. That you would tie yourself off to a dragster to get started. In my opinion, that's the cheaper. But like, the transmission is a transmission. The gear set she used, all it did was transmit the power.
No, because all right, so it's multiple reduction gear sets, right? Whereas, okay, so in land speed racing, if we're talking about cars, right, you have power that the car puts down, right, from the engine, and how well that puts it down, and whatever gearing you want to use it, and you have a top speed, right? Like you're only going to go so fast because you have wind resistance, you have drag, right? Counteracting that drag requires horsepower. You can only go so fast. So it really doesn't matter what the power. Yeah.
No, you don't. You can overcome drag in other ways than horsepower. You can have a lower coefficient of friction.
By making a lower. Yeah, but we're talking streamliners here and shit, right? Like they've already reached that point where they're not getting any.
It's just a physics show
now.
This is, for those listeners that haven't listened to us for a while, this is the classic gearhead versus classically trained engineer debate.
It's theoretical versus applied, basically.
Right.
Yeah. But my point still is that, so you've removed the effect of drag. I'm holding up a thumb here. You've removed the effects of drag on the vehicle, the bicycle in this case, and the human being, right?
So did the other person.
Which would effectively limit your top speed. So I'm okay with that. That's fine because they have another separate class where they don't have a windbreak in front of them, and so then they have to fight the effects of wind resistance. Different class, fine. I'm on board. 100%. But now you have, instead of a direct drive, which is only limited by a direct drive from gear to rear wheel, is limited by two things. It's limited by the size of the rear sprocket and as small as it can be, right? It can only get as small as the center of the bolt going through it and have that many gears on the outside. So the smallest amount of gears you're going to get on a sprocket is like 10, right? Any less than that, and it's just not going to work right. It may be more than that even, but I'm just like, theoretically, the smallest you could get is there. The largest you could get now is determined by, one, the size of the bicycle frame, which is determined by the size of the guy riding it. So a larger athlete would always have a benefit here. Tom upgraded our minutes.
You're throwing him off his soapbox.
No, it was a gift. Yeah. They said it was a gift. We only had like 10 minutes left, and it said, here's a gift unlimited. So it's unlimited now, apparently.
So the larger sprocket that's driven by your feet is determined by essentially the diameter of your pedals or the radius of your pedals, because if it gets too big, it's going to hit the ground, right? Which that's determined by the size of the frame and the size of the wheels on the bicycle, which have physical limiting factors, right? Like you can only make them so, like the geometry can only change so much before you're going to run the gear into the fucking ground, right? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Both of you. Either one of you.
None of this has to do with why an overdrive would be cheating.
Because it removes the physical limitation of that like mechanical gear set.
If here's the thing though, what's the point of this competition? What is like seriously like what is the goal?
To go fast.
Okay, if you are limited by like you said, like if you I don't like let's say direct drive whatever, like the actual game would be how fast can you move your legs in a circle at some point.
Yes, that's my point.
So,
that's what I'm arguing.
And there's nothing stopping.
It would be a competition of how big your thighs are, but in any case.
But it doesn't matter because whoever had the record before can go and take the same bike technology, whatever, and like break her record. Then if they're physically in better shape or whatever than what she is, because at some point, you know, like that's the difference. Like it's either the bike or the person. So
I don't disagree, but I think that a new class should be introduced. One with a direct drive gear set and one class with a non-direct drive gear set, which would be something with reduction in it. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that her feat's any less valid. It's less impressive, sure.
My Mustang, Mike, should it be really, should we sell it as a 5-speed with non-direct drive, 6-speed, or is it a 6-speed manual?
It's still technically a 6-speed manual.
So
but everybody knows it has overdrive.
Yeah, but it's a 6-speed transmission. It's not a 5-speed with overdrive transmission. You don't see that on pamphlets.
Only because the vernacular's changed. It used to be a 3-speed with overdrive.
No, but it's 6
before
years.
Before that, it was called a 2-speed with overdrive because overdrive was a new thing.
But overdrive is on the same shaft.
Overdrive's just assumed now.
Yeah, but overdrive is on the same shaft. On the manual,
you're not in competition, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's not. It's on the same physical shaft. It's not like an extra thing. Like they just added another gear to the shaft.
So I just wanted to apologize for our viewers and listeners that the software we're using did give us a free upgrade for unlimited time. Otherwise, I would have to move this along. But yeah, carry on.
Well, I don't think this is going to get resolved. But basically, Old Man River over there wants a new class for the cheater that used the overdrive.
Damn straight I do. That's exactly what I'm asking for.
Mike actually wants to parade him around in front of you Game of Thrones fans and have the parade saying shame down the road.
I will 100% agree with Mike on this whole thing if he is the first one to compete in the new class.
All right, I'm done. I'm in.
I
can't though. It's already been defined. It would already be defined.
What? You're making up the class like you can be the first one to run it.
No, because somebody already has the record.
Here's an idea. Put an overdrive on the overdrive.
Now we're talking. That's exactly what I'm saying. Where does the limiting factor end now? Because you could just continually chain overdrives together. Fuck it. May as well.
So
I wanted to like dispute Mike on this, but that's exactly what he wants to do to his trucks.
I mean, yeah, exactly. That's it. Just fuck it. I just add another fucking overdrive. Why is it taking everybody so long to figure out gear ratios? This is ancient technology.
Are you saying they're trying to be misleading?
No, I'm saying that. Sorry, Tom. No offense, and all our other listeners that didn't think my truck would go as fast as it does. No one believes the fucking math behind gear ratios.
I'm pretty sure everyone does. It's just terrible math because I can tell you I've done it.
No, that wasn't the math, and that's actually leads to the same thing that is crazy about this particular like feat, right? It was not the math of the gear ratios. It's the fact of like, does the engine produce enough power to put down to push the gears through? And what the surprising thing with your truck was like that little flathead has way more torque than I thought, right? Same thing with this 45-year-old CEO champion cyclist and mother of 3. She can pick them up and put them down, apparently. That's all I'm saying.
Speaking of the flathead, I would like to let our listeners know that we still have in the list of topics, if Tom's complaining this is getting too technical, Mike wanted to get into the intricacies of the benefits and cons for flathead versus Hemis, specifically Hemis, and why they don't use that would be a terrible, terrible podcast.
So actually, I'm going to quiz Mike. There's a chance that Mike knows this little bit of trivia.
That would be like armchair engineering from my side, which would be shot down, but just like straight off the hip. But in any case, what's your quiz?
What is the fastest 0 to 60 time done by not 0 to 60, fastest quarter mile by a flathead?
By a flathead?
V8, sorry. Flathead V8.
there's got to be some like 9-1 times out there for a flathead.
Sal, do you have a guess?
I would just throw out like I'm gonna play like the what's it called, the Price is Right game, like $1. $1.
Actually, no, I'm going to revise that. There's been some powerful. Are we talking just one flathead or like more than one flathead?
One.
Just one.
One flathead, Mike. Everyone knows the rules.
With no overdrive.
Right.
Only one overdrive.
Only one overdrive.
You wouldn't even get a chance to shift to overdrive on a quarter mile.
I know. Yeah.
Like 8.8, I'd say.
Okay.
That's kind of risky. That's kind of low for flathead.
All right. And Sal bids $1.
$1.
So Sal wins. It's actually like 6.29 seconds.
Really? Damn.
Yeah.
That's screaming for a flathead.
Set in 2013. There might be a faster one since then. I'm not sure, but the ones that
was
I
that
found.
Flat Cad Racing? Was it a flathead caddy?
I don't remember. This was like a couple days. I was watching the Cletus McFarland. Like he's got like a 48-minute video of him trying to set that fastest LS drag time or whatever, which is actually really good. I encourage people to go check that out. It's kind of long, 48 minutes, but they actually. Have you guys watched that?
I don't think so.
Cletus McFarland is like a YouTube channel. He built an LS engine, basically a Corvette. Like basically he's trying to do the fastest quarter mile in a Corvette. And he set it at like 7.82 seconds or something. And they ran the last few runs, they ran the engine dry without coolant because when they're pushing so much boost that it pushed fluid out of the engine and like their tires spun. Like at the end of the strip.
So one of the limiting factors, so for example, like the Tesla, right? So Tesla actually gets to the point where their coefficient of drag is so low, right? They have probably one of the lowest coefficient. I think at one point it was the lowest, but for a production car, I know there's that weird one, but you end up actually having to have more. It's not a power issue; it's actually a tire issue a lot of the time, right? You just can't get enough grip out of the tires. There's a limit to how fast you're going to be able to go. It's actually going to be limited by the tires, right? Especially with all this new electric stuff where you can put down instant torque.
That's why dragsters run wrinkle walls.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But that's like the Bugatti and all those. They create like more downforce than they weigh. Like I don't even know how much they do at speed. Like
which is fine at speed, right? But like if we're talking, like drag race or quarter mile, right? You just can't get that downforce standing still.
Right.
Yeah, and drag racing, I mean, especially, you're very concerned with weight, right? Because it's all about acceleration. So that wing is as small as possible to get just enough downforce so you've got enough grip going down the track, right?
I don't think he had a wing on it. It was like a cage, the Cletus McFarland.
Well, and
I didn't see that one.
What car is that? Tom, you would know. You're into the hypercar, supercar world. What car is it now that they're saying they're abandoning any sort of wings and it's all like downforce created under the car? There was some automaker that just came out and was talking about that. How they like foregoed.
Was it the F5?
It might have been, but basically, that the downforce these days, a lot of it's created. They can do it by the tunneling and stuff on the bottom of the car, which is why the Ford GT had that huge like rake looking thing coming out the back.
Yeah. I don't know if it looks like the F5 has a little wing actually does have a wing on the back. But
you know what else had a wing on the back? My sister's 1991 Bonneville.
Yeah, right. My Maz too.
So much downforce.
Oh yeah. Actually, I found what those really help with actually is keeping dirt from like developing on the taillights. Like somehow they keep it clean. Like it disrupts the air.
It's just they're functional, just not functional at what they're like thought to be.
# more speed. But yeah. So speaking of GMs and advertising things that aren't really what they seem, that was a really rough segment.
Not to cut you off, but you said GM, and that made me think about the Toledo plant. Just the blatant racism at the Toledo plant. Did you see that?
Yeah,
There's
I
like,
actually,
like an ongoing thing about that investigation or whatever about that.
yeah, so I actually know kind of. I've met the HR lady from there, and she says it's a nightmare.
That's nuts. It
So
boggles my mind.
you want to frame the question or the story?
Oh yeah. So basically, there's at least one black employee, union employee, working for GM at the Toledo assembly plant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's been significantly harassed, like racially harassed. There was a noose hanging next to his toolbox one day, like his workstation or whatever. I think he's a maintenance guy, is what I recall. I don't think he's a line guy, but still, point is, at least a noose hanging by his workstation, right? And then just a lot of other stuff to go along that route, right? So to the point where the guy feared for his life walking to his car from work, So, but not a good situation by any stretch, and it baffles me that still goes on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, I mean, I don't know about GM, but Ford's consistently voted like one of the most ethical companies or whatever. And it's likely that there's shit like this that still happens places.
Well, but you say that, but the Chicago plant was one of the ones that got the most national coverage for the Me Too, the harassment one, right? They had
that's right. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, right? So like it's consistently voted like one of the most ethical companies or whatever. And then there's still this shit that's going on.
Plants are weird places, man. I mean, obviously, you worked in one for a while. I've been working in plants now for a while, right? Automotive plants. It's an interesting environment, right? You get people from so many different backgrounds and stuff, which to some extent is actually a benefit, right? Because sometimes when you get higher up in the automotive, it ends up being the old boys club, right? It's a bunch of old white guys, especially when you deal with it. But the plants are, a mixed bag of wherever you're at, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's an interesting thing. I mean, I luckily, knock on wood, haven't experienced anything like that being a non-white person yet. I mean, I had teasing here back and forth, but nothing that extreme. But I mean, especially to your point, right? Once it gets to a threat of physical violence or harm, right? That's when it steps over.
Yeah, right.
But yeah,
so after on with your segue.
That depressing note.
I know that's a downer, man.
Speaking of those jerks over at so we finally have come to what I believe is a headway on the GM regular people commercial circuit that needs to.
Oh yeah.
So there was a news story saying that basically the coalition of Ford, Honda, and Toyota wrote a letter of some sort, which would have been awesome if they just like sitting at a typewriter like, dear Mr. GM, right? But we don't like you talking about us. But basically they were saying that GM's latest advertisement, for those of you guys that haven't seen it or anything, that was saying that Chevys are the most reliable cars due to a internal survey, right? More than Honda and Toyota and Ford. But they're coming under fire because the other ones, apparently the survey was an internal survey they hired a third-party contractor to do, and it had to do with, they interviewed people, owners of vehicles, and asked them how many times they went to the shop. Basically, the other three ones are claiming that they're being misleading, right? That it wasn't any sort of empirical, actual data. It was opinion data that they're using to try and push their reliability scores or whatever. So I'm just for one glad that finally someone's calling out these people on like real people that say a Chevy looks like a BMW, right? They're like, oh, it looks like a BMW. But yeah, like it's finally like all that stuff is so, and this shouldn't have turned into a monologue, but all that stuff's so fickle, right? The problem is, and more than getting, and I wrote a blog post back in our now dead website about how you can find a study that'll say almost every car company short of Land Rover is the most reliable company out there.
Because Land Rover doesn't care to pay for one.
Yeah, right. And I mean, they also have the worst air suspension. Probably, like it's almost comical at this point how bad their air suspension is.
Not just that. Yeah. Have you seen the videos of the Velars and the new computer system just like randomly shutting off and rebooting, like on the brand new ones?
Really?
No.
Oh, yeah.
But I did see the Lexus died on the way to the stage at the auto show.
Yeah, I
Oh,
saw that too.
Which
That amused
again, that's
me.
Toyota reliability, right? But it's just, I mean, and it goes along with, like I was telling the guys, just car advertising. It's just so weird. So like in Chicago, they ran an ad about how Hyundai won it was voted best car by whatever governing body at the auto show. But it was like best car of last year, right? So best car 2018. But she was like, oh, my sister had said, oh, so I heard Hyundai won best car of the auto show. I was like, no. Like it was a completely, so it's just like, it's so weird how, well, it's not weird. I mean, Mike's a marketing guy. Like this stuff, I don't even know if it matters as much, but it's like, it's almost gotten to a point of how much can you push before someone actually calls you out on it, right? How much can you make, or how much can you sway with questionable?
It's less how much than you push. It's less how much can you push than how much will the public accept, right?
well,
It's not that they're pushing this to avoid or anything, like they're pushing it to people who are not questioning what they're being fed.
well, they've
what I'm
started
saying?
making fun of those ads even, right? Like, I can't remember. I was
Yeah.
trying to look and find it, but like there's other ads from other companies that are like showing oh, like what do they open the thing and say, we are like real, we are actors, not real people, or something, right? And then they
Well, I
go
think
on.
was it College Humor that did the series on it? It was like College Humor,
Probably
or
this is like a company though that's like ads going on
yeah,
right now. Like
or it was Laugh or Die or something. Did something about that, but yeah,
yeah.
I mean, even to some extent, right? And I guess it worked. Was the when the commercial came out about the aluminum bed, right, where the dude dropped the toolbox and it like punctured through the aluminum bed.
Oh, here it is. I finally found it. It confirms it. It's a progressive ad spoofing the Chevy ads. Like that's how bad the Chevy ones got.
Wait, there was a progressive ad?
A progressive ad that's that's spoofing the like the Chevy ones.
Oh, we can't do this again. We can't do the everyone watch the video.
I was trying to think like how can I pipe this in like through.
Oh, I'm gonna watch that later.
Oh no, guys!
Sure.
Actually, wait, check this out. We can give me 1 second.
Can we cut to video?
We can screen share and do this. Yes. Let me just
Hashtag no free ads. Progressive, call us about this.
right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you owe us money.
All right. Let me know if this. Okay, everybody. This is like a whole like we're just trying this on the fly. So if this works, it works. If it doesn't, doesn't. Sorry. All right. Now you guys can see what I can see. Cool.
Oh,
You like
look
that?
at that.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, real actors, not people, watch progressive spoofs these annoying Chevy ads. So they go on and like. Actually, this is another one I forgot about. Oh, there's more. I haven't seen the last one, but this is the one I think that I was thinking of.
Oh, the sound isn't working.
No, probably not.
Oh, you're not. You can't hear the sound.
No, it's not gonna pipe through your
It's coming
microphone.
through your microphone. We'll
Ah,
do it later, but yeah, I
And
mean,
that defeats our podcast, Tom.
it does. Well, I'm
But,
trying to look and see.
but either way, I mean, I think it was interesting that this was the first time I heard of like the company's writing an angry letter to this other large entity saying, "Hey, cut it out." Right?
Yeah. So
I mean, I'm even surprised. Like, Mike, let's see. I'm going to test your MBA knowledge and all that. Are there rules against? I'm surprised that there aren't rules against like them being able to use like the Ford logo or the Toyota logo in their advertising.
I mean, no, not really. I don't think. Sorry,
that was a good answer.
Sorry, I was trying to get back to my large screen here that again it went away.
No.
I mean, only if it's like things like this. It's not illegal to use it, but doing something like this gets stuff called for having it taken down, right? So like defamatory remarks and stuff like that are generally frowned upon, but they're not illegal per se.
Yeah, I know.
Unless it's far enough that you could sue for damages.
Well, it's like slander, right?
Yeah, right. You've crossed like the slander line, but it's not really illegal to use. Like, they're not making money off of the trademark for Ford or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's free publicity for Ford as far as they're concerned. Maybe negative publicity, but again, the saying goes, right? So,
yeah, I don't know.
I'd have to look it up. Let's put it that way.
Cool.
So yeah, I guess that was it as far as topics. You guys, anything else you want to cover this week?
No, are we going to the auto show? Are we going to go ask people stuff?
It's supposed to be 8 degrees this weekend, Mike.
So in other words, Tom's not going anywhere.
I'm not going to be in town this weekend. So, I mean, Mike, you can go be the reporter on the street.
God damn it. Why do I always get the short straw?
What you should do is you should actually get Tara to ask people.
I know, right? People run away from me.
People would rather see her asking questions, I think, than...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Some cute red lipstick. Yeah, we'll get some interviews.
Easy there, Mike. This is a family podcast.
We could have Mike.
No, it's explicit.
We could have Mike wear red lipstick and Tara wear red lipstick and see who gets the most people to talk to them.
I mean, I might get some red lipstick on me at some point, but
there are places in Detroit where Mike might still get more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
More people talking to him.
It's true. Oh, also, since we're kind of wrapping up, I want to remind everybody that the Grand Tour will have come out by the time that this podcast is out, and actually it's the 17th today that we're recording this, and it comes out tomorrow on Friday. And don't forget to use the hashtag Amazon's Hit Car Show.
What are we doing? Advertising for the Grand Tour now? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, dude, those guys got to retire at some point.
Dude, they've got at least 2 more seasons. Didn't you hear the press release?
I know, but like we got to get them as much money as possible so they can retire in comfort.
What you should do...
I ain't getting them shit until they hire us to replace them.
Yeah, what you should do is you should realistically use that hashtag whenever you post any of our stuff to drive our views.
I know, right?
Also, if anyone
we should do that.
Happens to have been listening to this at 368 in New York with Casey Neistat and they need a car group, we're available. Just saying.
If you ever have difficulty sleeping, Casey, we can help with that topic. What was the topic? I even forgot what you were going to talk about with the hemispherical combustion.
No, the bicycles.
No, later we're going to talk about Hemis and why Hemis are the holy grail of combustion chambers.
They're not, though, anymore, which we're not using them.
Do you know that, just a fun fact, Mike's fun fact, did you know that if a combustion chamber is too smooth, it won't induce enough swirl in the fuel air mixture to properly emulsify in the chamber, and you won't get a nice clean burn and a full power charge?
Is that why you gotta like crisscross the honing?
No, honing's different. That holds oil. That has nothing to do with combustion. I mean, it kind of, because it makes things lubricated, but not really. It's outside.
Well, you're inducing turbulence, which causes tumble and all that fun stuff.
Right.
So swirl you get from momentum of the valve opening up in the vacuum. You get swirl, and then tumble you get from the internal. So if you don't have enough roughness, you won't induce enough tumble, and you'll have localized ignition.
Right, which results in heat spots.
See, Casey, you could be having content like this, gripping content on your channel like this. Same goes with the Grand Tour. If you need, somebody to take over, what do they call that? The street, Conversation Street. We could take over Conversation Street.
No, we could take over bedtime stories for the little ones.
Mike, you're the reason we have to mark this explicit every episode.
I know it's good.
I don't think this is for children. I mean,
no, not at all.
Yeah, but yeah, Conversation Street. We could do that. Actually, we should call this Conversation Avenue and see if,
hashtag Conversation Avenue. See if that pulls away views too.
Yeah, hashtag Conversation Street. Hashtag the Grand Tour. And then
who are they going to send the cease and desist letter to?
Exactly. Just like Chevy. Like we'll just mock we'll do
I
like
think
silhouettes and
we
stuff.
would get more publicity off a cease and desist from the Grand Tour.
We'd like Holt frame it, be like,
oh, I'd frame that shit for sure.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should do that. We should like go like where like each pick a character. We should each pick like Hammond or Clarkson
right,
and then like dress up and like pretend to be them for an episode. That'd be all right.
No, not at all. On that terrible idea.
Do it.
Give us a comment, a like, a share, whatever you feel like. Tell us we sucked. And we'll talk to you next week.
And on that bombshell.